So I've been so curious to get my nose on the Fendi collection of fragrances, simply called Fendi Collection. In fact, I featured them in an upcoming fragrances video. I spoke about them and I was very, very curious to get my nose on them. Went to the Fendi boutique around the beginning of June and asked if they were going to get them in. They told me, sadly, they're not getting them in. They're not rolling out to every Fendi boutique, and they're going to slowly come in later on. So I was a bit disappointed, was trying to figure out where I can sample them. And so I have a really nice sales associate I deal with over at Saks Fifth Avenue in New York City, Sal. He reached out to me and said they're going to get the fragrances in if I was interested in any of them. And I said, do you have any samples? Can I sample them first? So he was nice enough to send me the entire collection of samples here, and I'm going to do first impressions for you on camera. And even though I prefer to spray the fragrances with my hand from the bottle, that's the best experience for me, this is the best I could do because I'm not traveling anywhere that sells these right now. So if you're curious to learn about the Fendi collection of fragrances that just launched, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. Are you interested in finding out about these fragrances? Have you gotten your nose on them? Do let me know. Put a comment down below. So there's 7 fragrances, 4 created by Quentin Bisch. Can you believe 4 out of the 7? That guy just keeps cranking out fragrances. Fragrance after fragrance. Quentin Bisch, Quentin Bisch. So there's 2 fragrances by Anne Flipo and 1 fragrance by Fanny Bal. So basically 4 of the fragrances by Quentin Bisch, he's with Givaudan, and Anne Flipo and Fanny Bal are with IFF. So 4 by Givaudan perfumers and 3 with IFF perfumers. I don't understand why they didn't go with 1 firm and maybe just 1 perfumer to make the fragrances all very cohesive. Like, I'm assuming the folks behind Celine are going with 1 perfumer, and of course Louis Vuitton has their own in-house perfumer. And the reason I'm using them as examples is because Fendi is under LVMH, just like Celine and Louis Vuitton. So I'm quite curious to see these samples and what they're all about. Again, I haven't got my nose on them, so I'm going to put them in alphabetical order. This is Perche No. I'm going to do my best with Italian. I think Italian's a little simpler for me compared to French. Casa Grande. Maybe that's going a little Spanish. Prima Terra. And then we've got Dolce Bacio. Bacio. Does that mean sweet kiss? Ciao Amore. And La Baguette. I guess that's apparently a fragrance inspired by one of their purses. This is what I heard. I'm not a Fendi person. Sempre Mio is the last one. So that's 7 different fragrances. We're going to go ahead and get started. First is Casa Grande, which is this one right here. Again, let me know if you've gotten your nose on these fragrances. What do you think about them? They are 100 ml for $330. I can't remember if there's a large size. I believe there's a large size. There's sort of like Louis Vuitton and Celine. 200 ml and 100 ml, I believe. I don't have the price for the 200 ml, but the 100 ml is $330 and they are eau de parfum concentration. So here we have the sample. It looks very much like a Celine sample and a Louis Vuitton sample. It's a given because, these are under LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet and Hennessy. So this is a Quentin Bisch creation. It's called Casa Grande, featuring leather, cherry liqueur, incense oil. Quite boozy, but with a cherry twist. And the cherry is not like in your face. Now, it might sweeten up on skin, but on here, it's not as sweet. I mean, at first blast, I got a lot of cherry there, but it's developed into more of a boozy liqueur, cherry liqueur, rather than cherry fruit. The incense oil is there. It's quite smoky, but leather is not coming through, even though I get it in the background. So leather most likely is the heaviest note. It's a base note, so it will appear later. But this is a kind of a smoky leather experience with a kind of a sweet, boozy, fruity thing happening. First one, I like what that's doing so far with the smell. I'd have to get it on skin to see what it does on skin, but I'm assuming that's going to be sweeter on skin. So moving on to Ciao Amore. So this is Fanny Bal created Fig Leaves, Tonka Beans, Orange Blossom. So Fanny Bal does great freshies utilizing Orange Blossom. I keep mentioning that in various videos whenever I see her name come up. I haven't seen a fig fragrance that she's done. At least I'm not keeping up with everything she's doing. So we'll see how this is. To me, it kind of, although this does have Orange Blossom, which is kind of her trademark, I think, but it's a nice fusion of the greenness of the fig leaves with the freshness and the white citrus floral touches of the Orange Blossom. I mean, this is basically similar to her stuff for Costume National. I believe she did, it's either J or I. She did Salgos from Frederic Malle. Kind of in that line, but if you like the idea of Orange Blossom or Orange Flower, this is going into a bit of a green direction. The fig is not fruity whatsoever, even though on the Fendi website they have the fig fruit listed or in the photo rather than the leaves. In the notes breakdown on the website it says fig leaves. So good one. I mean, I've got so many different fig fragrances. Do I need another? That's the question. But I think that should satisfy the general public out there that is buying Fendi clothing and products and things like that. Leatherware. I believe they're known for leather and things like that. So the next one is Dolce BACIO. This one right here. This is an Anne Flipo creation. This is Damask Rose, Apricot Accord, and Patchouli. Does this go into a chypre direction? A fruity chypre? Fruity floral chypre is what I should say, although I doubt this is that kind of a fragrance, but it kind of seems like it to me. This one's kind of sort of reminding me a little bit of Gris Dior. Dior is under LVMH also. Kind of a Gris Dior, but with a fruity twist. Because Gris Dior is patchouli, oak moss, and rose. This is, of course, patchouli and rose. And you've got the apricot in there giving you a fruity twist. It's not uber fruity because apricots don't have that extreme fruitiness. But of course, it's definitely, there's fruits there, which is meshing nicely with the rose and the patchouli. Although I do think this is the chypre style for sure. It's acting like it, especially since it reminds me of Gris Dior. And so I'm getting that kind of a vibe with this one. So far, so good. I'm not smelling anything I have never smelled before. Everything is reminding me of other fragrances. But then again, I have access to so many fragrances. Is anything original anymore? There are original fragrances out there. I just think these fragrances do seem like I've smelled before. I feel like the quality is pretty good there when I'm smelling them. The only thing now I have to do is test them out on skin. So next up, it's Fendi's La Baguette. This one right here. And this is also an Anne Flipo creation, and it features notes of Iris Ultimate, Leather Accord, and Vanilla. Let's hope this is not going to go into the Dior Homme direction or remind us of that. Even though perhaps they don't make fragrances to smell like Dior Homme, maybe accidentally they start reminding us of it, because she worked on a fragrance for Lancôme, La Vie est Belle Extreme or Extrait, I believe, or Parfum, with Dominique Ropion. That fragrance did remind me of Dior Homme kind of a DNA. But let's try La Baguette. Oh boy, it does remind me of it. But it reminds me of like leatherware. It almost reminds me of walking into Louis Vuitton and smelling all their leather products. I don't go to Fendi as much as I go to Louis Vuitton. Once again, it's been done before. There's something about this that is delicate, softer. Again, I love this DNA, so this might be my favorite, but how many more Dior Homme malts do I need, right? It's giving me that kind of a vibe because it's got a lot of that kind of notes. Iris Ultimate, Leather Accord, Vanilla. That's basically kind of a Dior Homme DNA. Not identical, but sure, it gives me those touches. I like that one. I think so far my favorites are the first one and this last one. Next, it's Perché No. Again, if you've gotten your nose on these, let me know what you think. They just rolled out on the 20th of June, so they've been out for a few weeks at least. So Perche no is pink pepper, frankincense, fresh laundry, sandalwood. This is so soft. But wow, that's interesting. It is very close to the skin though. As a smell, it's really nice, but so subdued. That needs another spray. Very subdued. This is like a skin scent for sure. Huh, I don't know. It's extremely like subdued, like it's so skin scenty. The sandalwood is very prominent in that, and there is that kind of clean soapiness, which is kind of unique against the sandalwood, but sometimes I get a weird, strangely medicinal soapy experience when I'm smelling sandalwood fragrances. So I wonder if they're just bringing that out and calling it a soap or fresh laundry accord or whatever. But the next one is PRIMA TERRA, this one right here. PRIMA TERRA is another Quentin Bisch fragrance. The previous one was also Quentin Bisch, if I did not mention that. Wow, this sample seems like it's used quite a bit. Maybe they've used these samples. Haha. Well, maybe they're all the same size. Wow. These all seem like very small amounts, but either way, let's see how this is. So this has notes of oak moss absolute, rosemary oil, mandarin oil. This one I don't care for. There's a bitterness about it. It's interesting. I love rosemary, but in the tiniest amounts, especially in cooking as well. If you have too much of it, it kind of makes it medicinal. It's settling nicely, but this is a kind of a bittersweet citrusy fragrance with the mossiness of the oak moss and the rosemary. The rosemary is settling, but the rosemary does go medicinal to me. I don't know if you guys experienced this, but I know the rosemary is used quite a bit in lamb. When you're cooking lamb, you can get that rosemary. It's a nice contrast. But I don't eat lamb, but in other meats, when you use too much, it just overpowers. And I feel like on first blast here, it was overpowering. Perhaps that might settle nicely on skin, but it seems kind of boring for what I would pay for to get from Fendi. And last but not least, we've got Sempre Mio, this one right here. So this is the last fragrance, and it's also Quentin Bisch. So he did 4, Anne Flipo did 2, and then Fanny Bal did 1. This features notes of bergamot, cedarwood, orange flower absolute. This one seems to be that it's going to be boring again. Let's see. These fragrances so far I've smelled from Quentin Bisch are nothing like what I really enjoy from him. Like recently I spoke about Tuberose Astral from Maison Crivelli, and then of course Guidance 46. Nothing like these fragrances. These seem like upper level designer fragrances for sure, which is what they are. And again, this is just soft and very light. I can smell the cedarwood way back there, but up top it's a fresh, clean citrus and citrus floral touch. Very soft. So the last 2 fragrances are boring, quite boring for me. I'm going to have to go back to the very first one, Casa Grande. I think Casa Grande is my favorite. Although, now that I'm smelling it again, it's settling to more incense smoke. I like that one. It is highlighting the incense, though. The next one is Ciao Amore. Let's try that one again. I think... how many Fanny Bal created orange blossom fragrances could I have? I like the whole bitterness of the figs against the sweetness of the orange blossom. I like that one too. Next, Dolce Bacio. For some strange reason, this is reminding me a little bit of Le Panthère Parfum from Cartier. It's a chypre. It's a fruity chypre. This reminds me of that. And I already have that. Why would I want this? It's more of a rosy take on that, but that one is a no. And then we've got La Baguette. I really like that one. Although, again, I need to test these out on skin, but on strip, smells quite good. In fact, better than the first one. That's a winner for me. And again, how many more Dior Homme Parfum alts can I have, right? There's a lot. The next one is PERCHE No. PERCHE No is nice. This I'm getting a little bit of a cumin thing way after it was settled. So, and then finally, the last two fragrances, PRIMA TERRA. I like it. It seems simplistic. The rosemary kind of stood out. And the SEMPRE Mio, oh my God, that is so soft. This smells more like laundry than the one that has the laundry kind of smell. So yeah, for me, it would be Casa Grande, Ciao Amore, La Baguette, and PERCHE Mio. So those are the four that I really enjoy. The other three, I don't really need. But I'm probably going to buy 3 of these fragrances. We'll see when. The thing is, going back to the Dolce BACIO, I feel like this is the strongest next to the first one called Casa Grande. The Patchouli is so strong in here, and I'm liking it for that. The only reason I'm not liking it is because it's reminding me of La Panthère Parfum. But I want to see how this performs on skin, because it's good. It's not... I can get past the apricots for sure. I like that fruity twist with the rose and the patchouli. It's not a bad fragrance. It's just something that I already have and I've experienced. It does lean feminine, but the patchouli is always making it masculine. So it's going to be tough to decide, but for sure Casa Grande. But I think my favorite is La Baguette. Going to the Dior Homme thing again. Dior Homme Parfum. I love that one. But you know what? Now that I'm smelling it again, it does kind of remind me a little bit of Iris Malikan. There we go. Iris. Anyway, those are my thoughts on these Fendi collection fragrances. What are your thoughts on these fragrances? Which one sounds great to you? Do let me know. Out of all of the 7, let me know which ones you want to get your nose on first. And if you own them already, own any of them, which ones do you own? I'd like to find out. Put a comment down so we can all find out. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's first impressions on the new Fendi collection of fragrances. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.